And we are live.
Back.
Okay, back. Yeah, we're not live. So welcome back to Table Talk 23. Hi, Kit here, Mark here.
I'm here.
And I'm going to be 100% honest, and I already told Mark this, but for some reason I am extraordinarily nervous today. And we don't even really have like a specific topic in mind, but for some reason like I get this like anxiety. I don't know.
I think I had that last time.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Well,
I think it's just mood and food and I don't know. It's weird.
It might have been the coffee. No, but I had decaf, so I don't know why I'd be so nervous.
I did have something in mind. Well, a couple things. One is, I don't know. I looked at previous videos, and our previous 3, I think.
I'm so glad you're listening to it, because I haven't listened to a single one since we started.
Really?
No.
Wow. Narcissistic I am. But
no, I just haven't had the time.
I don't know. I think part of it, for me, for this one, I kind of want to consciously just be super grounded as much as possible. For some reason, when I get a camera in front of me and a friend around me, it's like, I gotta be all excited. And that's just part of my personality. But I wanted to consciously just to be more grounded and honest. Not that I was dishonest, but
we're going to have Zen Mark today.
I'm going to try to be just more grounded.
So we have Zen Mark. But okay, so we've been gone for about a month. I haven't seen you. We barely talk to each other like the month. Like we get together once a month.
Yeah, this is it.
This is it. So when I ask him how he's been, literally, it's completely new to me. So how have you been? Anything new? What's up with you?
Well, I can give you a long story about a crazy passenger I had as a rider for Uber, Lyft actually. But I won't go into that. But it was a crazy day yesterday. I had quite the time, and Sacramento Police Department was involved. So that's a...
So is it you can't tell us? Or
no, I can tell you.
I'm
just saying it's not really podcasty.
Oh, okay. So it's not like you're going to like witness protection or anything. Like this is the last podcast.
This is it, guys. This is it. I'm signing off. Godspeed. This guy that I picked up is going to come through that door because he's searching for me. No.
I'm sorry you had that experience. I've had a pretty intense experience driving Uber once.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure this guy was going to kidnap me.
Yeah, so I remember you saying that.
Yeah. I picked him up from a massage parlor.
Oh.
At probably 9 o'clock at night. And it was one of those massage parlors that was like a complete cement building and all the windows were blacked out. And there was barely any signs saying it was a massage parlor. And this guy walks out, gets in the passenger seat, and from the get-go, this guy just reeks of, I don't know, he was asking really personal questions. It was really awkward. And then, so I had 2 stops to make with him, and the first stop, I don't know, there was just I get these intuitions, and there's just something about him that just was I was everything was just run from this guy. So as soon as he got out, because he was gonna grab something from his friend real quick, I threw his phone on the pavement and just drove off.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, and I don't know, there was just he was, I don't know, I've never really gotten that kind of feeling before, but this guy I don't know, he kept trying to, I don't know, hold my hand. I don't know, it was really awkward. It was really gross. It was really gross. And so that was probably, I think, the last night that I actually drove.
Yeah, that's what you said. And you
I was quitting anyways.
But... Yeah, you drove for a month or something?
2 months.
2 months.
Yeah. I was gonna quit anyways because I just...
Right.
It was...
But that was
the final...
Not a very friendly send-off.
Yeah, I have had some great experiences though. Davis is some of them some of the drunk college kids are hilarious. One girl was there's a bar in Davis, and she's like, "This is not where you gotta meet men. If you want to meet men, you gotta meet them at the Capitol elevator." And I'm like, "What are you even talking about?" She's
Wow.
Anyways, yeah. So
you were telling me about the camera thing. So cheat out a little bit so they can see your face. Look more to the camera when you're talking to me.
Okay.
So like.
Anyways, yeah. So it was kind of, yeah, it was a really weird experience for me.
Yeah.
So I feel bad for you for having that kind of like a crazy experience.
Yeah, it was not fun.
I'm glad you're safe.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's not that long of a story. Basically, guy gets in. He wants to be driven a mile to the Arden Mall. We start. There's a many little stories in between, but basically, he wants to be dropped off at his car because he's wanted by the police, and so he crouches down, in the seat so that the police don't see him as I'm trying to drive him to his car. Anyway, he gets out at some point, and he leaves, and I'm thinking, okay, I'm just going to call Lyft support. Mm-hmm. And then I look in the back of my seat, and he leaves his cell phone, and he's already gone. So anyway, I don't want the damn phone. I ask the mall security, I ask the SAC PD. They don't want the phone. They can't take the phone. They can't take personal property. Anyway, I go down to the Lyft hub, which was down the street, really, in Arden Way. Yeah. And then just leave it there, basically. Make it short. I left it there. It was just, I mean, he ended up not injuring me or threatening me in any way, but I'm pretty sure he was on meth, and he just was like very demanding. Like, turn over there. No, I didn't say that. Go over there now. Just very like on edge. And I was like, oh God. Anyway, so that was one of my experiences yesterday, and
that was interesting.
So, yeah.
I'm glad you're safe.
Yeah.
I'm glad that guy didn't get you. Hopefully.
Yeah. It just flashed through my mind. I'm like, God, I gotta get out of this work. God, this is 2 years, over 6,000 rides. Just like, oh man. And I'm writing a book about it, so that's good. I'll include that story. But
that's
all
crazy.
Kinds of stories.
I don't know. There's just, I honestly think that the ride sharing program is a great thing. It's a great invention.
It is.
There's definitely some moments where you're like, whoa.
Definitely for you too. I mean, that was not fun.
I'm sure maybe he was fine, but there was just like something really.
No, someone's trying to like.
Yeah, he was like.
Touch you.
I was like this.
Approach you. Yeah.
I drove off, and then I contacted Lyft support, and I'm like, I dumped this guy in the middle of the road.
So, I was watching. This is like a plug for your YouTube channel, but
yes,
plug. I was watching your Kit Zakimi. Sorry. YouTube channel, and then at some point you said that you enjoy making videos and editing your videos, and it's just a very creative process, and that fulfills you. Mm-hmm. And it's got me thinking, like, why is creativity so important? And what is creativity? Why is it? Because, okay, let's just say for now, like, for right now, like, I just came back after 4 hours of working on the solo show I keep talking about. Mm-hmm. And as I'm driving in my car, I'm like, not level 10 elation, but like, I'm a good solid 4.7 elation. Like, I feel really good. I feel like a bunch of things kind of fell off my shoulder. Like, I just feel lighthearted. I was like singing in my car with all these songs, and I was singing songs I don't even really like. I just was just open and freed, and I don't know. I'm on like still a little bit of a cloud nine, and so anyway, I was 4 hours of solitude, of by myself in my own world, envisioning this solo show, writing out my feelings, allowing myself to go into these, lighthearted situations or deep, challenging situations, experiences that I had, and kind of explore all of that and then create a story around that. And it was just like, I don't know if when I'm in it, it's fun and it's explorative, but I also recognize when I'm coming out of it. So as I'm driving on the freeway here, I'm like, wow, like it's like working out and you feel so good afterward.
Right.
So instead of a physical thing as in a gym, I don't know, you're just exercising those emotional and those creative juices. And that, oh gosh, it's like, when my question is, or what we can think about is, at what point do we know that those juices are depleted? If we're hungry, like, oh, I'm hungry, I have an appetite, I'm hungry, then I eat, and it makes me feel good. So at what point are we depleted creatively? Like, I don't know, is there a point for you where you're like, oh man, I haven't done things for a long time, I don't feel fulfilled? I know, it's just about recognizing that. And I guess for me, I sometimes I don't know when that creativity is depleted, and then when I do something that's artsy, I'm like, whoa, where'd that come from? Mm-hmm. Like, now I feel it. Mm-hmm. I don't know. It's just.
Well, firstly, thank you for plugging my YouTube channel. Kitsakimi, by the way. Look it on YouTube. Just kidding. Buy my merch. Just kidding. I don't have any.
KZ.
Yeah, KZ. I was actually, funny enough, I've actually had this conversation a little bit today with a friend of mine I met for lunch. And I think the reason creativity is so important, I think there's two reasons. I think, one, it's one of the only few mediums that we have to just dump everything we're feeling onto something physical. Because as it stands inside of us, all our emotions are, like, especially creative people. Some people, they get, like, for instance, Matt, his outlet for stress is, like, business and just, like, that. But for creative people, I feel like when we're stressed, when we have all these emotions, all these ideas inside of us, because they're just feelings, they're not tangible. Like, you can't hold them. There's this like, I don't know, there's just this inanimate object that's just floating inside of you, just wreaking of, like, chaos. Mm-hmm. And then you have this moment like you did today, 4 hours of just constant, just dumping this emotion and everything onto a piece of paper, and all of a sudden it's not just feelings anymore, it's a tangible product. And to be able to see now, like, I think, like, it is a part of you, but now you could see it from a distance. So you could almost analyze it from a third-party perspective. Mm-hmm. Whereas if it's inside of you, you can't do that.
Yeah.
So I think is a really big benefit to creativity.
Yeah.
I also think it's one of the very few mediums that live on forever.
Yeah, that's true.
Like, we don't. In fact, everyone's like, oh, but you have memories of this person. But the thing is, like, if that person dies, and, like, anybody who has any memories of you die, like, those memories go with them. Mm-hmm. But writings and music and videos and even certain businesses, like, they live on as legacies. Mm-hmm. So, like, no matter how long you're not around, a part of you is still imprinted on this earth.
And for some reason, like, I haven't put a whole lot of thought in that idea, honestly. Legacy and longevity of ideas, and I'm just being honest. Like, I'm not, like, when I do art just because how I feel, and I kind of express myself in the experiences in the moment. But I I think there's a lot of truth to that. And maybe, I don't know, I'm just spitballing here, but like maybe the idea of legacy is a deep-rooted emotional need. And so that's what we do. May not be conscious like myself. I mean, it may not be like, okay, I'm doing this because I want to be known as this kind of artist or this kind of actor or whatever. But in the long term, it does create those ripple effects. And so what I'm saying is I'm not conscious of that, but I do think there's so much truth to that.
I think no matter who we are, I don't think anybody wants to be forgotten. You know, I mean, maybe not.
It's an interesting idea.
I don't think nobody ever wants to really be forgotten. Like everybody wants somebody to be like, you know, when they're gone, somebody to not recognize or like, you know, not maybe like admire, but just be like, oh yeah, Mark was here once, you know. But I mean, aside from that, I feel like, you know, like for instance, Shakespeare, when he wrote his, I don't think he was thinking that 100 years from now, you know, mm-hmm. But his work still touches people.
Oh yeah, yeah. And that's the word. I think a good word is for like a dichotomy of that. What I mean is, yeah, Shakespeare, when he's writing, he's in the moment. And maybe not. I don't know. Maybe he wasn't in the moment. Maybe he was doing drugs or something. But sometimes actually drugs help you get in the moment. But anyway, you know, when you're doing art, usually you're just in the moment, and just like I was, you know, in a room by myself, just you know, complete silence around me so I can just delve into whatever that is. So you could just take any individual or person or whatever.
Right.
And so you create by yourself and you're doing this. But then you put it out to the public. You take that project, art piece or whatever, and then you put it out in a public forum. Mm-hmm. And who knows, instead of like burying it in your backyard and no one sees it, but if you put it in a public forum in some capacity, then it creates these ripple effects. It changes people's lives in some capacity, mm-hmm. Whether it's, you know, art piece or whatever. So yeah, it's kind of an interesting thing there, you know. I
don't know, like when you say depleted though, because that word is
or like
sticking to me. Like, are you saying in that moment that you're depleted, or just like you have no more nothing else to say or contribute to this project? Like, what are you talking about?
When
level
I say
of depletion?
Yeah, I just mean that we haven't done anything creative. Mm-hmm. Not that you couldn't do anything creative, but that the monotony of life, I don't know, just the you know, you're going through daily life, doing your daily stuff, and I think we're a little bit different because we're on the artsy business track, freelance kind of track. So I think we kind of create our own roads.
Right.
But even still, I think it's easy to kind of get on that same line. Oh, okay, I got to do laundry. Okay, I got to do this, and now I got to do this. But we still have those needs, creative needs, like, oh, man, I haven't done this type of thing or this thing. I don't know. We just kind of forget. And so, at least for me, you know, the last 3 or 4 years, I've just been saving money and like paying stuff off. Like for me, there was times where I'm just so creatively depleted. Like, man, I just want to create something. Even when I was doing auditions, and I'm still doing auditions for commercials and things like that, like that does nothing for me. Or very little. Like, I pat myself on the back, good job, you got through an audition, or it was a direct booking. You go to the set, you meet the people, you have fun, you do the commercial, you shake the hands, you go home, commercial comes out, you see it, you're great, you get likes, cool. But where is that creating something? Not really, right? I'm just a pawn. So anyway, my point is that it's like when I continue doing things like that don't really fulfill me, I get really, I don't know, you get dried up. I get like like a dried up twig.
Like a raisin, but not as healthy.
Yeah. And then you just, I don't know, at least for me, that's how I feel. And then so I go into a room by myself and I start creating, even if I'm just writing, if I'm creatively writing, just give me a prompt, just give me a prompt. And I'm just writing and I'm in it. I'm creative, like thinking. Like that helps me exercise that muscle of just exploring that instead of, okay, I'm going to turn on the TV and they're going to tell me what to see. I don't know. At least for me, I feel depleted sometimes.
I don't think we're ever really depleted. I mean, even those people who kind of get in, what is the word I'm looking for? Life gets in the way.
Mm-hmm.
I think everybody has that outlet that they need to fulfill. It's almost like eating, almost like sex.
Yeah.
Like creativity is an outlet for everybody, right? But I feel like obviously you need to eat to survive. You need to have sex to reproduce. Like all these things that is a fundamental need for us. Everybody's like, there's a reason we still do it, except the creativity part.
Yeah.
Nobody ever pushes the creativity because they're like, well, you can't do anything with that. You're not going to make money off of that. You're not going to. So it's a need, I think. I think everybody has that need. But nobody, one, doesn't know how to fulfill it because it gets suppressed so early on as we grow older. Because we're all, like when you go to TGI Fridays or you go to a restaurant, like the first thing they give kids is a crayon and a little paper that they could draw on.
Yeah.
Like, where's mine? Yeah. Like, as a 30-year-old woman, I would like some crayons. When did that stop becoming a thing for us?
You discriminated me because of my age.
Yeah, that's why I think, I don't think creativity ever depletes in any way. I just think we just get better and better at suppressing it.
Yeah, and tolerating
the idea that this is not that important anymore.
Right. And I don't mean depleted 100%. I just mean like really, really low on gas. Yeah. You look at the, how much gas you have and it's like touching the E. You're right. I don't think it ever goes zero. I mean, unless you're just sitting in a room by yourself and doing nothing. Yeah. But yeah. And so, yeah, that's so true. It's so true.
I just feel that
it changes people's lives, and yet we don't do it enough.
I think, people regard, I think Maslow, there's the Maslow 7, human 7, like nature. Maslow, yes, yeah. Not Maslow. But they talk about like food and all that, like relationships and all that. And I think creativity is definitely, if it's not on there, it should be. Because, I don't know, I just feel like, I think that just goes back to, I just think it goes back to, like what I was saying about kids, and they're allowed to be whatever they want to be. You want to be a pirate, and the couch is a ship, totally cool. But when's the last time you pretended a couch was a ship and put on your pirate hat?
I don't think I ever done that in my life.
Okay, but whatever you did as a child. Like why is that not a thing anymore? And it's because we go into the public education system, and as we grow older, people are like, no, now you need to worry about finances. And there is no place, creativity has no place when it comes to living and finances.
Mm-hmm.
And I think, a lot of these people who go into the creative fields, in fact, I was watching a Motley Crue,
doc.
It's not a documentary, but it's like a biographical movie.
Okay.
Like there were actors acting as, and then you hear about these creative artists that are like burning out, and I think eventually, even in the creative field, when they get depleted is when it's not about the art anymore. It's not about their passion.
Exactly.
It's about the money. It's about the drugs. It's about the sex. It's about the fame.
Yeah.
Which there's nothing wrong with, some level of, liking that type of stuff. But when you forget the true reason why you started something like that kind of creative process in the first place, yeah, that's, I think, when you start depleting.
Yeah, there's a reason we create. People start, and I don't know the fundamental reason why we create. To me, it's got to be. It's such a deep inner thing, and it's. I don't know. I would argue it's a need.
I think it is.
God, it's so important, at least for me, and it's like it's my fuel. Even if it's like singing, dancing, something like that. It's like oxygen. It's like oxygen to me, and it's like I don't know. It's so interesting. As one of the first things you said when I got here, you said, I think the universe is kind of coming together for you. And I didn't say it at the time because I wanted to say it now, is that because I was on that cloud nine, I'm kind of coming off of it now, I guess. But in the car right here on the freeway, I was like, it's like I can see down, because I was in solitude and was just creating, and then that creative mindset. It's like it was like creating this, and this is just a visual representation. I think that what was created for me in that, because of what I just did, is like this, like a tunnel, like a. And this is going like weird thinking, but but when I have that elation, it like lightens my mood. It lightens my, it opens the doors to the realization of my dreams in just a few hours. To be able to continuously flex those muscles to say, I'm going to continue to create, and sort of like, that's what I seen when I was driving down the freeway. It's like I can see this, like this. I mean, I can call it a tunnel, or you can call it a doorway, however you want to see it. But like, it's like I can see that, and that's just 4 hours. I mean, and I was recording a little thing on the freeway, and I was like, but what if I did this every day, or like most of the day, and continuously open those doors, but kind of on a practical level, on a less philosophical level, like what does that mean to the average person, or how I can connect that to other people? It's like being creative allows you to be more creative, and allows you to see those opportunities in front of you. And instead of being bogged down with the routine of life, instead of being bogged down with the monotony of life, instead of moving away from the meaning of the art that you're pursuing, if you're in the arts, like you said, even within the arts, sometimes you're like, oh, I'm getting pulled away with the fame, I'm being pulled away with the money thing, and it's like, wait a minute, what am I doing? So it's like the meaning is lost of why you're trying to do what you do. Anyway, so I don't know, just for me, when I'm like that, it's like a drug. I guess that's another thought that kind of ran through my mind. It's like a drug. So people want to do drugs, and they want to feel high, and they feel so happy and elated, and it's like, it's the best feeling in the world. But why do you need to put a chemical in your body, even though you can do things, read and sing and play the piano and web design and create a business, and those things create a high too. I think there's a lot of chemicals that are like going around in your brain. Similar, when you take actual drugs, you can get to that same place where you're elated and you want to continue creating. And so anyway.
Yeah, It's those release of endorphins.
Yeah,
basically.
yeah.
You know,
But you can choose which ones you do, which ones you want to partake.
I don't know, like I feel like it kind of comes down to what I said earlier about how I feel like society kind of almost suffocates that creative process. So I feel like most people don't even know that creativity is an option as an outlet. They just go to drugs or alcohol when they could write a story or read a book or start singing or do whatever they love. But we've never been taught that as an option to create those endorphins.
Yeah.
I mean, I think about like Unlikely Legends, for instance, you know, and I don't know, I like in the video on my channel, just kidding.
Casey.
I was, like I said, I was in San Francisco, and I think for the first time in a long time, I felt art. Like I hadn't felt that in a while. And I wasn't planning on recording my trip down there, but I was like, okay, I'm just gonna pull out my phone and just record whatever interests me. And like I haven't done that in a while. I haven't focused on my vlog because, you know, it doesn't make money. And I don't know, but I was like, something inside of me was like, you need to do this today. And I thought for the longest time that I had lost the ability to love like the creative process or like filming and writing stories because I was so bogged down with Unlikely Legends. But what I realized was it wasn't unlikely. It wasn't that I stopped loving the art, the creativity, the filming, the writing. It was that I was making Unlikely Legends a priority in my life for money. I wasn't doing something I don't know how to explain it. I was doing something I loved for money, which is not a problem, but like there's a balance and the money came before the love. Which ended up suffocating what I loved. And I don't know, I just remember filming that vlog. It was just a simple one. But I remember that high, that process, you know, just, and then coming back to the computer and editing it and like piecing it together with the story and the music. And I miss that a lot. So yeah. I
think that part of that, the need of that, and the reason why you enjoy it so much, and why other people enjoy it, is that the creative process is that you're telling a story, and that's, I think a lot of art is just telling a story. And so I don't know because you had a great time and you want to relive that experience, and when you see yourself or you hear yourself in the video of the concert, and you remember that feeling that you had, it's like you want to continue that high. You want to continue that elation, because who wouldn't want to continue being on that cloud nine and feeling high, you know? Like you just want to continue that feeling, like it's a drug. You want to keep doing that, so you know, and then you can tell your story, and then you can tell other people and be excited for that.
Yeah, I think the problem that I had with Unlikely Legends was we got so focused on telling stories for other people, which is not a problem, but it wasn't a story I cared to tell.
Yeah.
It was like stories for real estate agents so that they could help them sell their listing. But if I really thought about it and was honest, I don't care about real estate agents selling a house. I made, you know, one of my biggest contracts was working with Salesforce, you know, an international billion-dollar company. And that was, I'm not like downplaying how grateful I am that they gave us the opportunity to do that. But at the end of the day, like, I didn't care about their story. I didn't care to tell their story. And that's what I was focused on, because I thought that those were the stories that make me the money, so that I can continue doing the things that I love, and so that I could continue telling stories I want to tell. But the problem is, when you're just chasing stories for the money, you forget the stories you want to tell because you get so consumed by those other stories.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember, like, one of the first things I wrote down in Unlikely Legends when I was coming up with the business was, Unlikely Legends is a company that tells stories that are worth telling. And along the way, I had forgotten that being the core idea. Because everyone jumped on this, like, idea of Unlikely Legends being this company for the underdogs, or doing something doing something and proving that you can do something even when people tell you can't.
Mm-hmm.
Like, that was what people took Unlikely Legends for. But for me, it wasn't just that. It was that I wanted to tell stories that were worth telling.
Mm-hmm.
And in the 4 years that Unlikely Legends had established, I had never gotten a chance to do that because I was so focused on the money aspect of it. I was focused on the management, the team management. And every year it just sucked away any creativity or any heart that I had for UL.
Mm-hmm.
And so when I stepped away, and you've heard this on the podcast a couple times where I talk about how, like, burnt out I am on creativity or filming and how I don't want to do it anymore. But then I realized that it wasn't that I didn't want to do. It was how I was doing it. So right now, actually, I met with a girl today. She actually works at UL, but there's a story in her that I've been wanting to tell for so long, and so I'm teaming up with her, and we're gonna start working on telling her story because she's kind of my muse right now.
Oh, nice.
So I'm clinging onto that muse.
Yeah.
But, like, for the first time in a long time, I'm like, I have something.
It's so important. It's so important. I actually made a few self-video audio file things that basically I constantly said that I as well as other people, but I'm definitely chasing money. I have a financial goal, and I've been chasing money for a while now, and a lot of people do. So I'm not that hard on myself. But yeah, we get very blurred, and that's why I feared having a regular job, because I feel like I'm gonna put out all this energy and money, more of my time and energy on things they're not meaningful to me. And so then, like you said, you do that so much, and that becomes your sphere of just, I don't know, just meaninglessness, and you just get lost. And that's, I'm definitely feeling that now, because I'm not. I'm gravitating away from it a little bit because I quit my agency, and I'm like, okay, I want to commit to things that are meaningful to me. So I am moving away from that, and I'm conscious of it, but I still partake in that because I'm like, we have to live the money life. At some level, we can't just live on a dollar. We have to do what we have to do. But it's important to keep that up and to listen to those whispers of imagination, and to continue listening to inside. So how do you keep that pilot light lit? That fire going. Very, very, very difficult sometimes.
I think what I've realized for myself, at least, was that there's nothing wrong with wanting money, because you need the comforts. You need to be able to survive. You gotta eat. You gotta have a roof over your head. I mean, you don't need it, but life is already complicated as it is, and not having those things makes it worse sometimes. So money is essential, and I'm not ever gonna say it's not. But I think what is so easy to mix up is pursuing money in order to do the things you love, versus doing the things you love and figuring out a way to make money doing that. And So now I'm like trying to shift my thinking and be like, well, I'm going to pursue the things I love doing. And then I'll figure out a way to make money that way, rather than doing something just to make money so that I could pursue the things that I love. And I think there's a huge difference there.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I couldn't just do what I love and then make money. So I'm kind of like in the middle zone where I at least got a job that I can be flexible enough to go where I need to go. You know, so I instead of taking the full jump off the cliff, I was like, I'm just going to take this little jump, and then it's closer to the water, but it's not completely, you know. And
I mean, obviously,
but
100% it's not going to always work that way.
Yeah.
But I feel like trying to keep that in the forefront of the mind.
Yes. Keep your head forward toward the water, toward
Yeah.
the goals, toward the dreams. It's so, so important.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a really good question you were feeling there today.
What is creativity and
Yeah.
why is it important?
I mean,
I don't know, man.
I think creativity
it's like
is
food, man.
Well, creativity is
Oxygen.
life. It's what connects people together. I mean, when, like, for instance, when you go to that concert, or when I went to that concert, like, I didn't know.
Was I there? No.
Maybe in spirit. You were in my heart, Mark.
Ohio. Wait. That's the only word I know in Japanese. Well, maybe a couple more.
But no, like, I was.
What the hell are you doing?
He's
Anyway.
so weird. Just kidding. But, you know, like, I went to this concert. There was a lot of people there. I mean, it was a filled theater, and I didn't know any single person there. But the one connection we had was this band. And then when they started singing the song that we all knew and loved, like, there was a unison in the room, and there was this connection that was none of us are probably ever going to see each other again. If we bumped into each other on the street, we're not going to know we were there.
Yeah.
But in that moment, what these guys created connected a whole room of people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why creativity is life. It's connection. It's a way to connect between two people.
And thinking about the solo show that I'm creating, it's going to be in a theater. And when you're so honest in theater and you're just grounded and you're just putting yourself out there and expressing or opening up those vulnerabilities, people see that and they're like, I can relate to that. Either maybe they can relate to it directly because they've been there, or they can say, oh, I can see how this person feels. Oh, I've been in a similar situation in a different circumstance. I can see how this person feels. And so, yeah, that's totally right. It's about, and that maybe that's another underlying fundamental reason we want to be creative, because we want to relate to other people.
Or to have other people relate to us.
Uh-huh.
Like I said, I don't feel that there's like one specific reason for creativity.
Yeah.
I think there's multiple layers,
Yeah,
right?
it's deep.
It's deep. But like, I don't know, when I was the little acting that I've done in my life, I've done plays, and
You were the teacup.
I was the teacup.
And
I was
okay.
I was the peanut. No, just kidding.
Okay.
It just makes me think. Side note: my ex-husband, when he was a kid, was in this play called Nuts for Jesus, because he was Christian, and basically it was the story of these various nuts. Like, I think he played the cashew. Anyways, so, I thought that was funny.
All right, kids, your homework. You better research nuts for
Jesus. Anyways, it's silly. But like, I actually have always really loved live theater rather than, like, I do video as my medium in my writing, but I've always actually really loved being in the audience of a live theater as well as being on stage, because when those actors, or you as an actor, get it right, you almost feel that connection to the audience, not just the actors around you. And then sometimes you can feel that, like when everything is going perfect and everybody is feeling like in sync, and the audience is in sync with you, and the actors are all in sync, and everybody's in sync, there's like a room full of people that is just connecting.
Mm-hmm.
And we're all in this bubble, and we're all like in this safe little bubble. And I don't know, like, and it's born through just stories and creativity. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
It's so cool.
It
and
is.
that's a high.
It is a high.
You know?
It is a high. That's why when people don't do well, or when shows don't go well, people get sad because they're like, oh, I missed out on that connection.
Or when it's over.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I want to do another one.
Yeah. It's like you said, it's a drug.
Yeah.
You feel that feeling, and I think actors are, I feel like I know a lot of actors are always like seeking that feeling to recreate it.
Right. So true. I just, when you were talking about that, it makes me think of the play I was in. It was Rumors by Neil Simon, and I played one of the main characters, and it was just like, it was one of the, well, it was like the fourth, I don't know, a couple plays ago that I was in, and quite a while, it was years back, but it was so much fun. And it was actually during the time where I didn't think acting was going to be my career or, you know, life choice. Anyway, so it was just that during that time I was like, it'll be fun. So it brought all of those feelings back, like, oh my gosh, I forgot how much I love this connection, this unison, this orchestra of great characterizations and people around us. And so I just remember one specific part where it was Rumors is a comedy, and at some point I go to the bathroom, and so I go off stage, and then I say something. Someone knocks on the door, and then I say, hey, I said something, and I guess the timing was right, because then all the audience members just started cracking up, and it's like, it was like it's like they crack up, and then I'm like, I just feel this like, wow, this is working, and this is great. I don't know, it's just a high you get when people respond to you on stage. It's just a wonderful feeling. Yeah. But that's so true. Everybody's kind of telling the same story, and everybody's kind of in it, and it's it's so much fun. Yeah, it's I don't know. Yeah. Something about plays, acting, art, it just gets, I don't know, it's just so mesmerizing. It's fantastic. I mean, okay, so what, you know, and it's like we're giving adjectives to these feelings. Oh, it's so great, it's mesmerizing, it's, you know, and it's like, this is the same as when someone's on drugs. Like, you know, makes me so happy. I'm just so grateful, all this stuff, and you know, it's the same endorphins that are running through our brain, but just using a different way to do it.
Well, it's also, I feel like drugs are probably an easier method of getting it, and a quicker one.
It's just instant, yeah. I don't need a stage. I don't need props.
I don't need to rehearse.
I don't
need talent.
I don't need talent.
Skill, like,
nope.
Maybe a really good way to roll a blunt. I don't know, but like, I don't know. It's, and people, you know, it's instant gratification.
It is total. Not that I know. I've never done any kind of like that. But
yeah.
You know.
Yeah, I get you.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that is a hella good question though.
Yeah.
Like what you brought up, because I was, like I said, I literally was just talking to my friend about this exact same topic at lunchtime.
Yeah.
So it's kind of cool that you brought it up.
Well, the video prompted me, because you said that creating the video and the creative process is meaningful to you.
I didn't even know somebody watched that.
I think I was the only one, because you just posted it last night or something.
Yeah, I did.
That was probably your one view. That was me today watching it.
Well, thank
noon.
you.
Yeah,
thank you.
No problem. Well, I get notifications for YouTube and my subscriptions.
Oh.
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
So I was like, okay.
I'm on somebody's notification. No, I don't know.
But,
I
anyway.
I remember, and then I feel like I think there was also a part of me that felt really guilty too, you know, because with Matt, like I've talked about this a couple times, that learning business and having that business skill has always been kind of like it was a skill I had to learn to love.
Oh yeah.
And you know, when we were building Unlikely Legends, like all I really wanted to do was a creative process of everything. But like I felt bad because like I started this company and I felt like responsible. Mm-hmm. And that if I didn't focus on the parts that made the company grow, I was letting not just myself but like my team down, because they were all relying on everybody to pitch in together to grow this company. So I couldn't just very well gallivant away and be like, you guys figure out everything and I'm just gonna go film shit. You know. And then throughout our relationship with Matt, you know, and that's I think if there's any big disconnect between Matt and I think that is the number one, where he's very logical minded, he's very business oriented, where I'm like I don't know, like a flappy fairy that's like, you know, throwing sparkles at everything, and I'm like, this is great.
He's like, Kit, come on, I gotta clean this up for you now.
Yeah, Matt's like over there like, how much does the sparkles cost?
Yeah, you just wasted $263 KZ.
And so like, you know, I was also worried about that for our relationship. Like, what if I did start pursuing creative stuff full time? Because up until this point, the last 7 years, like I feel like our biggest connection, I mean, we get along, but I think the biggest connection was that I was more business oriented. I thought about more businessy stuff, but then I realized I was holding my own potential back.
Mm-hmm.
And so I remember, I think 2 nights ago, I sat down with him and I'm like, I am not this person. And I realized that, and I really want to focus on my creative stuff. Like, for the first time in my life, I'm not afraid to be poor and work on building this aspect of my life, because that's what I love. That's what sings to me. Mm-hmm. And, I mean, he's fine with it. He took it a lot better than I thought, but, like, I think there was also that part of me that I felt like I was suppressing myself, my creativity.
God, I can just feel it. I feel it, because I feel it too.
You feel my suppression?
I feel yours, but I can relate to it, so I can feel, you know, I can, it conjures up my own. Mm-hmm. You know.
So, I don't know. I think it was, who was it? Jada Pinkett Smith. She has this Facebook Red Table
Talk,
which is actually pretty good. If you
I listened to a couple, like a couple of one or something.
There was one where she was talking with her daughter and I think her mom, and her daughter was talking about, like, as a mother and as a wife, like, what are some things you feel like you're lacking or whatnot. And then I remember Jada was saying that she spent a lot of her earlier life married to Will and, you know, having kids. Like, she felt such, everything she did was for them. You know, like she suppressed a lot of what she wanted to do because she felt that she needed to do that in order to sustain a happy family. Mm-hmm. But she realized that the more she did it, the more unhappy she became, and how her unhappiness affected the family. Yeah. So she realized, like, she needed to do something for herself, things that made her happy. Mm-hmm. And then she realized, after she started pursuing more of the things that she loved, the connection with her and Will got stronger, and the connection between her and her kids got stronger. Mm-hmm. So I think there's also a lot of things, or like, here, this is a really good story. My guitar teacher in Japan, he had met this woman, he fell in love with her, she had 2 kids, so he became a stepdad. And I remember one time we were talking, I was probably like 15 years old, and I was like, well, let's say you got married to her and, like, she got pregnant, what would you do? Would you continue doing music? And he's like, no, in order to support my family, I would stop doing music and get a job, like a businessman job. And I was like so brokenhearted, because I looked to this guy as like my creative idol. Mm-hmm.
He would do anything.
He would do anything for his music.
Yeah.
And I mean, I think most people would look at that and be like, that's a very respectable man. And in a way, I guess...
And you were like, no.
Yeah.
I don't like you anymore.
No, but I was like, I don't know. I remember being really sad about that.
No, I get it, yeah.
Because at that point, I was like, do I have to choose between a life of creativity or a life of relationship?
Yeah.
Can I not have both?
Right.
But, I don't know, like, I realized the best way to maintain a really good relationship is to be true to yourself and not hide who you are as a person, because you don't want somebody loving a lie, like a version of you that's a lie. You know?
That's true.
And I don't know, like, let's say you make something of yourself, doing what you love. I think that's even much more inspirational for your kids and your family. It gives people hope.
What are you saying specifically? Like creating something together, you said?
No. Like for instance, for him, he pursues his music career.
Okay.
He gets to a point where he's doing what he loves and supporting himself doing what he loves. And then his kids grow up seeing that. Mm-hmm. And then they start to think, oh, maybe that's possible for me too.
Yeah, definitely.
I feel like there's just too many people that are being suppressed. Mm-hmm. If that makes sense. So true.
I mean, sometimes one spouse says, it's fine, I'll be the breadwinner. I'm just going to work. They don't love their job, but they're tolerant of it. They're not a super artist person. They don't need to like go off and have a survivalist mentality. They're like, it's okay. I can clock in, clock out. I can do the 8 to 5, 9 to 5 thing. I get a vacation time. I'll get the medical care. You do your thing, and that's a lot of situations. And those people are very lucky to have that situation where they can, they can travel around and, have the money to go to do that. And that's great. And sometimes, it happens where there's two artists, art kind of people where they're kind of going together. Maybe that work, maybe that doesn't work. I don't know. There's probably got to be a balance there somewhere. But it's so true. It's like, I mean, I have so much respect for people that are like that guy where it's like, no, I have to take care of business now. I can't, on this musician life, this is, $60,000 a year. I can't raise 3 kids like this. Some people do, I guess. That's possible. But it's like, no, I don't want a 2-bedroom with 5 of us. I want a bigger house. I can't live on this musician income. So it's like I get it. Like I understand why people do that. Now there's some people like some people that we listen to that's like, no, we can do a 2-bedroom. We can cut down all the we don't have to buy a lot of expensive stuff. Just cut down real small. We can even get a this, or if you're by yourself, get a studio or get like 3 roommates and like sit together, and then you're just digging in, and living and creating that life. And so I mean, I don't know. I think
it depends on the person.
Depends on the person. Depends on if you really want to do this, and it's a series of tests. I mean, I see this journey, this actor journey. Series of tests, emotional tests, friend tests, to fear of failure tests. I mean, there's just so many things that it's like, I mean, this question keeps popping in my mind. Do you really want this? Yes. Okay. There's another test. Do you really want this? Yeah. And I keep going through the journey. Yes, I think I do. Anyway, so yeah, it's difficult to balance, but it can be done. But you gotta, sometimes it's like cutting people off, friends off, it's relation off. And because if they don't listen to you and they don't, I mean, that's one thing I guess we can tie in. I think I might have said this already too. Like I was on set with, I try not to say girls now. So I was on set with a young woman, and she was playing my wife. We were doing a scene from Jerry Maguire, and we were in a relationship in the scene. And so outside of the scene, when the cameras were off, I said, let's talk about our own relationships personally, Anyway, so we got to a point where I said, and I think we both agreed, I said, I think I would probably want to be in a relationship with an actor because they understand how, this mentality where I really want this. Like, I want to live my passion. I don't want a plan B. This is 100%. I'm just jumping all in. A lot of people with that logical mind and practical mind on the other side of the spectrum, they don't really get on the day-to-day operation of things. They might understand, oh, wait, no, go for your dreams. Yeah, I get it. Maybe a cousin or an uncle, like, yeah, I know he's doing it. Yeah, well, it's not for me, but do it. It's for you. But in a relationship, on a day-to-day, you got to have that balance where you're like, when that person, your partner, comes through the door with another rejection, it's never like, well, I told you so. It's like, no, you go out there and you keep doing it and don't give up. Period. And if I have a partner like that, then yes, I'm like open to it. But anyway, I'm just tying in that thing. But like, yeah, it's a balance. It's a balance, and it really tests your determination.
I get that. I mean, I think when I get into my creative mode, when I'm getting ready to start writing or when I'm getting ready to start doing a video, I shut down. Like, not me personally as far as like inside I'm alive and everything is going, but from the out, like Matt will sometimes sit there and ask me if I'm doing okay. Because there'll be periods of like weeks where I'll like barely talk to people because I'm having an internal conversation myself. Like in my mind, I'm not here. I'm visualizing a video or like a story. Like a story's playing in my mind. I'm putting character pieces together.
Yeah.
I'm like, so when I walk down the street and stuff, like I'm not there on the street.
Yeah.
I'm actually in my movie and my story.
Yes, I love it. Yeah.
And so, like, I know from like sometimes Matt will like be, he gets it now because he knows that when I get into those moods,
just don't talk to her.
Yeah, I'm like I'm just not I'm not present. And
in this world.
In this world, I'm in a different world.
Yeah. No, I get it.
And so, like, I mean, it's nice because he understands it and he gives me. I mean, he probably doesn't understand it, right? Yeah. He might understand it like as far as like, oh yeah, I see that she's.
I see down the hallway. Yeah.
But he doesn't really understand what I'm going through.
Right.
Like, for him, when he looks at the world, to him it's all numbers. When I see a world, it's camera angles and lighting, and I'm like, what kind of story is here? And I'm like making stories, so it's like like when I put music on, it's not just me listening to music, it's a background for a movie. Yeah. And then there's a scene that's going on while I'm listening to that music, so I guess you could say I'm constantly daydreaming. Yeah. Like I have several like seriously weeks where people will be like, "Are you okay? Are you okay?" And I'm like, I'm not here. Just imagine I just took a trip to Cambodia or something. I might be physically here, but mentally I've checked out. Like I'm in a different universe. If my story's set in New York City, my head's in New York City. You know what I mean? Man,
that's why I'm laughing, because I can relate to it so much. I may not shut down as much, but I can definitely relate. Two things. One is that just same as when I just got out of this, practicing for my solo show and writing, it doesn't matter. If you're just writing or doing something, you're in that mode. And so I'm driving on the freeway. Well, I'm listening to music. I'm like, I'm in that cloud. I'm on that cloud nine. I'm in that world, right? But I'm also on the freeway driving. So, and sometimes I'm like, I have to check myself, and I'm like, oh shit, I'm driving. Oh wait, Mark, you're driving right now. Like I have to there's it goes back and forth from that world to this world. That's what it goes back and forth.
It's actually kind of dizzying sometimes because you're just like.
Well, yeah, because all of a sudden I'm like going 82 on the freeway, and there's like red lights in front of me. Oh shit, I got to brake now. Yeah. No, so I've done that many times.
It freaks out Matt, and I feel bad, and I'm like, no, it's actually very dangerous, but I can't help it. My mind just goes into that mode where I'm like, it's almost like a vortex. It just goes. Yes.
Yes.
And then you're just in this different universe. Yeah, and then all of a sudden you're like standing in front of a character from your story, and you're like having a conversation, like, and you're not driving anymore, but
That's
you
so
are.
cool.
I don't know.
The other thing that relates to that is that I'm practicing the keyboard, and I don't know much about it. I mean, I'm just starting really, but when I get into it, like I can at this point, literally since the day I got it, I can play it for 10 hours, but I
Wait,
have to stop.
Keyboard as in like digital piano?
Yeah.
Are we gonna start our own TT23 band?
I don't know what that is.
Table Talk 23 band.
Oh, band. What are you gonna play? Oh, okay, guitar. Okay, we could. But okay. So when I start playing, okay, basically I limit myself while I try to. I try not to play when I need to get things done, and that's almost every day. So like I'm like, okay, give myself an hour or 2 hours, because once I put my hands on the keys, and again, I'm not like professional, not even close. I'm like super beginner, but I know how to. I don't know. I'm getting faster. What I could say. I'm not like I can't read music, but like I'm getting a lot faster. But anyway, the point is that once I get into it, I mean, I'm in a whole nother world. I can't. And so anyway, so it's hard to kind of break away. I'm like, Mark, it's been 2.5 hours. Like, oh my God. But I love it. I'm like in another world. I love it.
So one of the things, and I'm going to explain this to some of my friends right now, because I don't think I've ever properly explained this. They call this a terrible trait. And Matt has had beef with me over it. Morgan has had beef with me over it. But there are moments where I'll be in a room, or I'll like, they'll be here and I'll be just like walking by and they'll say something to me, apparently.
Yeah.
And it's quite clear to them that I should be able to hear it.
You. Yeah.
And then they get so offended because I walk away without saying anything to them. And then I'm like, guys, I may physically be here, but mentally I'm in New York City. Like, I don't hear you. It's like
because I'm 3,000 miles away.
Yeah, it's like shouting from California to be like, "Kid!" in New York.
Exactly.
I'm not going to hear you.
I don't hear you. Yeah.
And so, oh my God,
funny.
they used to get so offended. They used to get so mad at me. They're like, "I can't believe you like don't listen to me, and like I can't believe you just ignore us like that." And I'm like, "That's not what I'm doing. I'm sorry. I literally don't hear you. I am just
that's funny.
I can't." Or like we'll be in the middle of an argument or just like discussion, and then all of a sudden I'll just go, and I was just like not there. I'm just like, and I can't control when this happens. I just like all of a sudden I'm like, oh, idea.
Oh man.
I don't know. And
but for a clarification, and maybe you're gonna give me shit about it, but like, do you actually hear them? And you I don't want to say ignore, but like, do you not hear them at all? Like,
no,
like later on, you're like, I didn't hear you at all.
No, I actually really don't hear them.
Oh, okay. Wow, that's incredible focus.
Yeah, like,
because I can see myself just like they're super low volume. Like I can barely hear them, but I'm not going to say anything because I'm in my zone. No, you're saying you just
I literally
don't.
Like,
wow.
There have been moments where, like, we're sitting over here, and this is Morgan and Matt, and then I'll walk maybe across them a little past where that camera is, and then they'll be like, Kit, and I'm just like focused. I'm like, I literally can't.
That is fantastic.
I'm telling you, I'm 3,000 miles away. I can't hear you. Sometimes I'm not even on the same planet.
She's light years away.
Yeah, like I'm in a whole different.
So I think that's important to utilize, and it's important to use that muscle. I mean, your friends got to be tolerant of it because
it is definitely
because I could see me complaining too. I could be like, I'm right. Come on, like, don't you get it?
Yeah, I know, and I get that. Like, if somebody did that to me, I'd get mad too.
But yeah.
I swear to God, I'm not ignoring you. I literally can't hear you. Because, I don't know. I'm in a forest with some other person. I don't know. Like, I get these, like, weird...
I'm making a movie right now in my head, and I'm literally in it.
Yeah.
I feel like that would be really useful if you're, like, a filmmaker or, like, an author.
Yeah,
because you would just be in the zone. Oh, real quick before I forget, because forgot again. So that story reminds me of, and I always thought I would do this, but that story reminds me of Frankenstein. Not Frankenstein is, well, Frankenstein is the doctor. So that's who I'm talking about. So in the book, and I think in the general story, is that he like is that mad scientist that goes in this room and creates something by himself, and he's so self-absorbed that he just doesn't understand, like there's a whole whirlwind of the world that's going around him, but he's so like focused. And that's when I remember reading that story when I was a lot younger, and I'm like, I am that guy. I can totally see me being the mad scientist and like putting wires everywhere and figuring things out, and not having to live the regular life, just like go 2 years in the darkness and like create something incredible. Like I can see myself doing that so much, and I'm just kind of tapping into that now. But that's where I see you, that, you know, even though you're around people, you are totally just totally in the zone. And I think part of that is sort of a different topic, but like you've heard of the concept of flow in psychology, where you're so in that so creative world that there is no almost logic. It's just, you're just in it, like a boxer or a writer or a visual artist. They're just in their zone, and they're making something, and it's so they're just lost, but they're found. They found themselves, but they're so lost to the outside world.
Yeah, I feel
I
that.
know. I love that. I love that concept.
It's so funny because my creative process when I write is I put on headphones, and then I usually, because I've been doing this ever since I was actually, I used to do it with like Walkmans, and then I was doing it with CD players, like the portable ones.
Yeah.
But I would literally, I used to go outside into our backyard, and I would pace back and forth in our backyard with music on. And everybody else, it just looks like this crazy kid going back and forth talking to herself, because literally I would be talking to myself, voicing different characters as I'm putting these pieces together. And but I still do that to this day. Like I'll go into the downstairs extra bedroom, I'll put on music, and then like I'm in a bedroom, but I'm not. And I'll do that even as I'm walking around the neighborhood. Like I'll literally start laughing because my character said something funny, and then my other character is laughing, so I'm like acting it out as I'm walking. So people will literally look at me like, I've noticed some people that are just like, oh,
they're like, you're talking to yourself. You're like, no, I'm talking to the characters in my head. Okay.
I don't know what sounds better, but no, like, so if you ever catch me with headphones on, I'm not there. I'm just let me be. I'm not a crazy person. I'm just focused. I have flow.
That's it.
But no, yeah,
so true.
Like when we used to live in Meadow Creek, you know, that backyard we had.
Yes.
Or my roommates would sometimes look back in the backyard to see what the hell I'm doing, because all I'm doing is pacing back and forth with my headphones in my ear and laughing my ass off, or like talking, or like having like a serious conversation.
With myself.
But I'm not having it with myself. There's a character there, damn it.
Yes.
So.
It's so true. Yeah. And that's so good to have. I think it's great. It's like a tool. It's a tool to be able to just tap into. I feel like you're really good at it. I don't think I've ever, like, I'm a horrible sleeper. I just can't focus. That's my big problem. But that's awesome.
That's the only time I can focus.
When you have headphones on?
When I'm in that zone.
Oh.
Yeah. I can't like, I'm terrible with everything else. I can't sit down long enough to, because I feel like I have like almost ADHD, where I have to constantly get up and move.
Yeah.
But I will be able to do that for hours, just sit there and listen to music and come up with stories in my head to eventually like write down. That's the only time where I'm in the zone.
Huh. Interesting. Like, yeah.
Matt views this.
Or playing guitar?
I don't get too much focused on that.
Well,
one.
when you did, though. We're down to 2, just saying.
Oh, we're fine.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Music definitely gets me in the mood, but not playing it.
Huh,
Like, I can't
okay.
sit for hours. I think I get more frustrated that I can't play.
Oh, okay.
But
I mean, I can't play much, but
like,
it's interesting to me.
when I what I used to do is I used to go to this cafe thing in Roseville called, I think, Country Gables or something. And I would order their biscuits and gravy and a glass of water, and then I would spend like 12 hours just sitting there writing.
That's awesome.
Just writing for 12 hours.
Oh my god. Yeah, no, actually, that's probably the first one that's the first one. That's the first medium that I could get into the flow with. I even still, I like it, but in some ways I hate sitting down. I don't know.
That's why I have to move around too.
Yeah.
That's why, like, I'll write and then I'll stand up, listen to music.
Yeah.
Come up with more of the story, write it down.
Right.
Like, I'm almost, somebody has explained it to me, like I look like a mad scientist.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, and then I get up, pace around, talk to myself, get back to my table, write some more.
That's awesome. My thing, my problem when I do that is food. Like, I'll forget to eat,
I'll forget
but then I'll eat and then not feel it anymore. Like, I have to be starving to be like, to have those thoughts come in sometimes.
I forget to sleep and I forget to eat when I'm in those moments.
But then my best stuff comes when I'm fulfilled, not when I'm like, an hour left. I mean, I guess, no, I mean, it goes, sometimes I do good stuff and sometimes not. I mean, I guess
what I've noticed.
It's hard to get into the flow. Sometimes.
So I actually did time myself. I do both. I time myself until the wheel starts turning.
Mm-hmm.
I get out, I do 25 minutes, and then I do 25-minute increments, and then once I start feeling that energy, I turn off my clock, and then I just allow myself until I deplete.
Do you still write with your hand? Do handwriting, or do you?
That's the best way I focus.
Yeah.
It obviously, I can't write as much, but I will easily, I will write like 10 pages in the course of like 12 hours, just like going back and forth. Like that's, I actually don't focus as well on the computer as I do writing my stories down.
What I do is I start handwriting it, get the idea, get the concept, get the main story, and then because sometimes the ideas come so fast, I need to type.
Yeah.
Because it doesn't
That's
catch up with my thoughts. You know.
Yeah, I do as much as I can on paper before I transfer it on there.
Exactly.
But yeah.
That's so cool. I love this talk. I love this concept.
So creative, opportunity.
And we stayed kind of on topic. That was pretty good.
Yeah, we haven't actually.
Not that we need to.
We didn't flip flop too much today.
Yeah.
Normally we're like all over the place.
Yeah. That's true.
But today we kind of.
I love the flow. I think the flow it's like all those endorphins. I mean, how can you not want to feel just high as a kite, man? High as a kite.
I know. It used
Makes
to
you feel so happy.
It used to scare my mom when I was younger because I would, I'd get in these zones and then I'd focus and I'd write. But when I get into those moments, like I forget to eat, I forget to sleep. And so like I feel alive, but I walk out of my room having not showered for 3 days. My hair is like this.
And you're like, I feel so accomplished. And everybody else is like,
yeah, my eyes look like raccoons. Like I look like I've been on like a drug binge.
And you're like, I have. In a different way.
But yeah, it used to scare my mom when I do that because she's like, you have to sleep. And I'm like, I can't sleep. You don't understand.
I can't sleep. I'm in a creative mood right now.
I'm Frankenstein, literally creating a monster.
True. So fun. Oh my gosh. In some ways, like I would want to, like before 25, I was a huge night owl. And when I got into college, I had to get up early and stuff. But when I was a night owl, like I would just write and I would just imagine things. I was so much more imaginative. I'm much more logical now than I ever have in my life. So it's kind of like, but it's good because I learned so much more, and now I'm trying to balance that yin yang relationship.
That's actually how I know when I start getting into my process, where I'm like, it's almost like PMSing. Like you're like, okay, I'm not able to sleep, I forget to eat, and my days and nights start to get skewed. So I'm like, okay, I'm getting into my creative process. It's like my pre-creative process.
I swear, for the longest time, I said my creative process, my at the most creative I am is after 10 p.m. For the longest time, I said that, and I think still to this day. But I'm like, I'm so tired now.
It's less
but
distraction.
It's so true.
I mean,
my gosh.
Recently, I think the earliest I get up is noon. Because I spend
till now.
Right now, like for the last week or so. Because right now I'm so focused on my story.
Yeah.
So I wake up, I stay up till 3 or 4 in the morning.
What's the story?
I can't tell you.
Oh, okay.
But 3 or 4 in the morning, and then I get up probably around noon. Breakfast is
you're
up.
living the life.
People ask me a lot. They're like, "Well, if you had vast amounts of money, what would you do?" And I'm like, traveling obviously would be one of them. But honestly, I would write all day probably. I'd be in my corner of the universe, creating my stories.
Yeah. I'm so glad. I should probably end here, but I'm so glad though.
Holy crap.
That one, you're writing a story, whatever mysterious story you're writing, because you've mentioned writing a couple of times in these podcasts, and I didn't really know that you had that interest, and all of a sudden,
yeah.
I know this, and it's like you're like fulfilling that need. And when I started talking about that, I can see you lighting up. Because it's like,
yeah,
it fulfills you, and that's so important.
I'm
so
a naturally creative person, and I sometimes forget that.
Mm-hmm.
Because I put other needs
right there
first.
with you.
Anyways, I think this is the longest podcast.
Wow. How long was it?
20 minutes.
Hour and 20. Okay.
That's probably.
Some other one was close.
But yeah, before we end up talking, because we could probably talk about this for a long time. But thank you guys so much for tuning into this month's TT23, Table Talk 23. TT23, Table Talk 23
with KZ and MG.
Yeah.
You just cut it at that point.
Yeah.
That's good.
that was pretty bad. All right, we'll see you next month, guys. Bye.